We're joined by the CEOs of both companies, Tony Makuch of Kirkland Lake Gold and Mick McMullen of Detour Gold. Guys, thanks very much indeed for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Tony, can we start with you? I mean, I think a lot of eyebrows were raised because it's such a different company you're buying here. You have these super low-grade mines. Detour, by its nature, is a super high-grade mines. I'm sorry. Detour is, by its nature, a low-grade mine. It's a big old open pit. Why did you decide to marry the two companies?
Well, I mean, Detour, although it's you say it's a low-grade mine, but in terms of opportunity that's there's been definitely a significant turnaround happen in the operation, and you see costs coming down and production improving, and we see lots of upside in terms of production improvement over the years, led by the turnaround that Mick has started with. Mine's well built. It's a very, very large reserve and a large resource currently in place, and we think there's significant upside in terms of both growing that reserve and resource, and then fundamentally growing production, lowering costs, and it's not necessarily the unit cost, but the volume of the margin that is really significant here. This already is a world-class, one of the largest gold mines in the world, and it has the potential to be even bigger and maybe even be the biggest in the world.
It's a huge mine. I mean, I forgot your production was so big. You're not far short of 1 million ounces a year now, 900,000 plus, but you're buying an asset with about 600,000 a year?
Yes, we're targeting close to 600,000 ounces of production from our phosphate mine in Australia. Close to 250,000 ounces from the Macassa mine in Kirkland Lake, which isn't very far, about a 4-hour drive from the Detour mine, and fundamentally Detour is right in our backyard in northeastern Ontario, where we work and where we're from. So
actually, we have a chart there, I think, that we can show a quick comparison of the two companies. So of course you have that huge market cap driven by the low grades. People love that. And there's your production there, set to be. These are numbers, estimates from TD prior to the deal. And of course, your stock was trading at a big premium. Mick, thanks so much for coming on. And so you came in just in May 1st, you took over at Detour Lake.
That's
or
correct.
Detour Gold.
Yep.
And you also then headed up Stillwater, which was sold. So you're a master salesman.
Well, I don't know about that. I guess, I like to think that I'm someone who can fix operations. Which is really what this needed, and then you'd be open to all opportunities, I guess.
Now, so John Paulson and his team, or the people working with him, they took over the board at Kirkland. I'm off to a great start today at Detour earlier this year. Were you brought in by them, essentially?
No, I wasn't actually. And to be clear, there was through the proxy contest, there was a change in the board. A majority of the board changed over, but it wasn't a clean sweep, for the Paulson slate.
Yeah.
And no, I wasn't involved with that activist campaign. In fact, actually, at the Stillwater one, I was involved with the activist campaign. So I came along afterwards and was recruited, through a committee on the board to act on behalf of all shareholders.
Let's put up a 1 year for Detour Gold. You thought this would be the best outcome for shareholders here. You thought, rather than try to go it alone, because, I mean, there's only a pop of about 4% on the stock here. I know that's because Kirkland Lake stock has come down.
That's correct. So, because it's a fixed exchange ratio, we'll trade in lockstep now with the Kirkland share price. In terms of, what we've done over the course of the year or the 6 months, 7 months I've been there is that, this asset had sort of a bit of a checkered history in the past. And now people believe that actually we can deliver on what we say we're going to do, and we've identified a whole pile of opportunities that we're part the way through delivering. And Tony's group at Kirkland's got some other ideas and some greater capital resources that allow us to do a bit more, actually, which we wouldn't have on our own. And when I've been out speaking to all of our shareholders, and I've been out on the road a lot, because when you have an activist campaign, it's because you've lost touch with the people who own the business. Mm-hmm. And there's been a very clear message is that they would like to see this asset not in a single asset business. And so...
Why is that?
Well, typically a single asset company, you have a higher degree of volatility because you're a single asset. You've got a higher degree of risk. And if you look at the empirical evidence, single asset companies do trade at a discount on a P to NAV basis. So if you had $1 billion of NAV across a couple of mines, it will typically trade at a higher P to NAV. And so one of the things we're looking to do through this transaction is to address the concerns of our shareholders and then put ourselves into another company that you really create something unique in the gold space, given the free cash flow, given the the balance sheet, the operations. So this we felt was the best way to go.
Are you sticking around in the merged company?
Well, I'll be available as and when required. Obviously, you can only have one CEO, and this is the guy sitting next to me. But I'm certainly available as and when required. And I think importantly as well is the team we've got up at the mine site, which has really driven a lot of the change. Those guys aren't going anywhere.
Tony, your stock's been trading at a great premium after particularly Fosterville. I mean, that's ignited investor enthusiasm for the stock, trading at a premium. So you're issuing paper trading at a premium for stock trading at a much lower premium, so you're getting value in that way. But are you worried you're diluting the story here for Kirkland Lake because you're taking on this massive mine that's so different and it has had trouble with costs over the years?
Well, but it's again, as we say, it's a mine that's been well built and has definitely gone through the turnaround and there's a lot of momentum in terms of where you see things going and if you really look at Detour, it won't be very long for the shareholders to see that it's a mine that provides the same sort of value for the Kirkland Lake shareholders that the Fosterville can and that Macassa can to the bottom line.
As soon as I saw this deal, I was drinking coffee at my breakfast table today and I thought, whoa, he's buying that? And I thought, is this a poison pill? Did you get a takeover approach? And you thought, well, it'll be a better deal if I buy Detour, and of course that would deter an acquisitor maybe.
No, I mean, we're in the end, we're not doing things to protect our jobs. The company belongs to shareholders, and that's who we work for. We see this as a very unique opportunity to really get go into these world-class cornerstone assets and a third one in the company and really be able to build upon it and create lots of value for shareholders. And Tony, thanks so much for joining us. Mick, I'll finish with you. You must have slight regrets here that you weren't able to solo continue the Detour Gold turnaround story.
I do, and again, it's a team effort, and we've actually built the morale up, and so everyone is actually. It's been for shareholders who've known this company for years. There's been a tremendous turnaround in this business over a pretty short space of time. But I think Tony hit the nail on the head. Is like we're here for the shareholders. Our job is to get best value for shareholders over the medium and long term. And so when we looked at all of our options, go it alone, acquiring stuff, doing other stuff. We felt this was the best thing, that was the best deal for shareholders, and quite frankly, the best thing for our employees, because this gives the additional financial resources to really, take this asset to the next level, which on a standalone basis, we probably wouldn't do.
Good stuff. Guys, thank you very much indeed for coming in on a busy day for you. Let me ask you, how much sleep did you get this weekend?
Enough.
Enough, but only, were you up late with the lawyers, etc.? Okay. Guys, thanks very much. Tony Makuch of Kirkland Lake Gold and Mick McMullen, CEO, for now, of Detour Gold.